Okay, so here we are, back again on my YouTube channel, my video blog. It is the search for Forrest Fenn's Gold, Wanderlust, Wanderlust. All right, so yeah, this was I did like a part two to my travel trip rant, and um, I did almost the entire video, and I realized that the audio was turned off the whole time. So I had a bunch of time, and there's been all sorts of YouTube content going around, and spent a lot of time watching that content. YouTube content being about the thrill of the chase, TTOTC, Forrest Fenn, just a lot of content, a lot of people with opinions and things. And so, anyhow, back to my trip, and this picture, in some ways, may sum up a big part of the trip that I took. I went last week in May. I left the day after Memorial Day weekend. Left on a Sunday, and quickly ran into this. I ran into snow. I left too early. It was a major bummer. Um, so I just wanted to show some of the things I was thinking about and tell you some of the places I went. So this is actually right at the border between. I'll show you. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, this some of the pictures I'm going to show you were right out here, coming across this border here. I came out through Evanston, and I went to this little town called Lyman, and let's see if I can zoom in. And I drove all the way down through this lone tree, through this flaming national gorge, and I came all the way down through Vernal, and then down through the town of Dinosaur. And I understand this is Utah, but here's the border into Dinosaur, and I drove. Where did I drive? Where didn't I drive? Oh my gosh. Uh, I went all the way down through this Rangley to Meeker and down to Rifle, and then I drove all the way out through Vale, out here, Idaho Springs, into downtown Denver. And then I came back up through Cheyenne, Laramie, uh, and back. So I made a giant loop like this all the way down. In full disclosure. So yeah, ran into a lot of this. Can't tell from the picture, but it is snowing out. It's like it was a mixed rain with snow. It was brutal. This is early in the morning. It was very early in the morning, like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we just could not escape the rain and the cold. It was like 32 degrees. I did go to the Flaming Gorge area, which is unbelievable, even on a crappy day where it was snowing out and raining. Uh, I tell you something. If he hid this thing in the southern part of Wyoming, in the Flaming Gorge area, it's going to be very tricky to find. Just huge open areas, lots of this kind of scenery. Just a million little rocks. If you look down here, there's all these flat rocks, and let's see what else. And just an unforgiving, harsh environment of um, these pine trees and just miles and miles of these rocks, just rock after rock. These formations are just, it goes on seemingly endlessly. Places where you could stash a 10 by 10 by 6 inch copper Romanesque box filled with 40 pounds, 42 pounds of gold and jewels and such. And a couple more pictures here looking down. I am afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of them. Okay, maybe I am. It absolutely causes my stomach to drop uh, into my knees. But I did cluster up the energy to look over the edge and take the pictures here. Absolutely stunning place. so many of these little nooks and crannies, these layers and such. Again, I don't think Forrest Fenn put it here. And then you ask, well, why did you go there? Um, I don't know. Okay, okay, I did think maybe you put it there, but it was worth it to take a look around and see that kind of topology. And I may just quickly click through these pictures, but I mean, once we got down into the uh, northwestern part of Colorado, we crossed over into the border into Colorado. It's just if you've never been to the northwestern part of Colorado where Dinosaur and such is where the park. I mean, this is what you see. It just is kind of endless. This territory with the brush like this. Again, uh, if Forrest Fenn decided to put this thing, out here on one of these bluffs or something, I could easily see this is about 200 yards. I did not venture out there. It is quite a hike, and if it is out in these kind of areas, then he's right. Nobody's going to just stumble across it because, and to make matters worse, uh, there's like these kind of things just go on and on. Um, where there's just feature after feature, and you could, if you don't have a very specific grasp on this thing, I mean, you could spend so much time up looking around through these areas. I mean, there is just one feature after another. This is actually, I thought someone said it was some kind of a famous in history or something, but anyways, you definitely come down the canyon down through this kind of canyon gorge, and this is sort of kind of the end of that gorge in a way. And this is northwestern Colorado. And for me, these couple of pictures, this picture here and this picture here, really sum up a big part of this territory where there's just these large valleys and just a lot of farming and mining operations and a lot of farming and just a lot of nothing. Just huge open spaces, a lot of cattle, very few people. Um, Seems to me like a lot of barbed wire fences, a lot of private land. Um, I had speculated for long periods of time looking at maps, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go through this region was because I wanted to see, maps and topology things. It just I had to see it for myself to kind of see what's out there, and now I know. And I'm kind of trying to show you. Yeah, just a lot of seemingly unending two-lane roads and uh, just epically. And, there's a lot of dinosaur bones, and it's a famous area where they found dinosaur bones, and they continue to do that. And it does a lot. Some of the landscape when you come around the corner, I mean, you could almost envision maybe a dinosaur standing here coming around the corner. It looks in some cases it's lunar. Um, it's some big air open area, and many times I pulled over and just sort of baffled at the landscape and wondered, if Forrest Fenn, walked up here to this little ledge that almost probably nobody ever goes to and put the thing sitting on that ledge looking over this huge valley down below. It's going to take forever, and not to mention this is all bob wired in. I believe it's private property. I just don't want to have that discussion with an owner, but I think you got to be careful about stuff like that, and I have been. For any of you who may dream about going to Vail, Colorado, I did go there, and I was pleasantly not surprised. It's very commercial. It's extremely built up. Everything is extremely expensive, and frankly, I could think of many other places to go that I think anyone would have a far better time. So my advice is, if you're ever driving through Vale, keep driving. Sorry. And much to my dismay, the fact that it was end of May, I mean, we just kept running into snow, 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 and more snow, and rain, and just lots of snow. And in the name of brevity, I stopped at several marked and mining towns or old mining towns, and of course it is snowing here as we were coming down this canyon gorge. This town, I think it's called Silver Ton or something. I've seen this on other blogs, on Reddit threads, where there have been other searchers who have been to this location. It's kind of a neat little downtown. I think it's worth stopping for. Maybe it's not. I mean, there literally is nothing there other than this little town. I think if you listen to the first part of this travel thing rant that I'm doing, this was definitely kind of like a C place on my list. It was like A, B, C, and it was a place where, when I saw it come up, I pulled off the freeway, and, you have to kind of go down a pretty sketchy gravel road to get to this actual old town. It's been around for over 100 years, and I just don't think it's in a place like this. There's actually quite a population lives here. I think it's almost like the population's almost like 400, 500 people live. On the other side, there's like more modern housing, but there's a fair amount of people wandering around here, and just don't think it's here. Even though I've seen this place discussed before, unless it's really cleverly hidden. I spent some time rooting around. I moved on. So I think I'm actually going to do my road trip rant part three, because I have some more pictures I wanted to share, and I probably will share those more slowly or explain my reasoning for those. I think my trip through the, let's see if I can show it again. This is where I came down through. Here's, if you zoom out on Google Maps a little bit, obviously here's southern Wyoming. Here's the northwestern part of Colorado. This is the region that I just showed these pictures from, and it's a lot of big empty space out there, and I wanted to see it for myself. And there were some places that I definitely wanted. I stopped and looked around and just realized that, I mean, if it's there, if it is out here somewhere, you're gonna have a hard time finding it, in my opinion. Uh, or you better have figured out the poem, and it'll take you right to it. Um, I think if I come back to this area again, I would approach this area from a different direction. Um, I think I would go back there again just for my own recreation, just because there, as usual, there were so many things where I had to drive by. I just didn't have the time, and I want to go back for my own, like, just for fun and look around, for camping and hiking purposes, and probably, yeah, to look, turn over some more rocks or logs and look behind some more things, um, because it kind of fits some of my solves. I think that, again, what I was talking about in that video one on my travel rant is, I think some of the biggest issues that revolve around the thrill of the chase is that there is some truth in that. I mean, either this poem has to be figured out in a certain way, and it's going to give you a very exact answer, and then you should go there. Maybe you shouldn't waste your time at all. But I also think that if you read Forrest Fenn's book and his memoir, which recently I've had preview to read some of it, and I never did before. But I think I'd gotten the gist of a lot of it through blogs and Reddit and stuff like that, and other people's videos. Is that it is the thrill of the chase, and what is the thrill of the chase? I think for Forrest Fenn, he talks about the quote about life is playing a game of Texas Hold'em poker. I think what he's saying is, life is a gamble, and you better go out and take some chances in life, and you never know what you're gonna find. So anyways, that's the end of this rant number two. I gotta go to work, and so I'll have this thing uploaded. Thanks for watching. Like my videos, subscribe if you can, and I'm gonna do part three maybe later on and post that.